Huh? Shaka Zulu.
Good morning.
Hey, Shaka. What's up?
How you doing?
I'm tired of the dog. Oh, shucks.
My power is out at my house. I'm at the
What?
center.
Miss Barbara was saying that the weather was crazy last night. I slept through the whole thing, so I didn't even know.
It's all night. All night.
Hey, Miss Betty, welcome back. So we've got 1 minute, so hopefully some more people will tune in with us this morning for our health tips. Hey, Miss Evelyn. Hey, Betty Peggy. Hi, Miss Evelyn. Everybody, unmute yourself. Unmute.
Morning.
Good morning, Miss Valerie. How are you today?
Fine. How are you?
Hanging in there. How was the weather at your house last night? I heard it was bad
Oh,
in some places.
yeah. Well, it just constantly rained. Yeah.
I didn't hear a thing. I must have been tired.
Yeah. But it was that small rain. It wasn't like, yeah.
Okay.
But it kept raining when it stopped.
Okay. Well, good morning, y'all, and welcome to Health Secrets for Seniors. Today, we're going to be talking about, because this is National Emergency Preparedness Month. Okay. We got so many emergency situations going on now. I don't know where to start, between the people on the West Coast with the fires, people on the East Coast with the hurricanes. We're catching the brunt of, what's that hurricane, Sally? We're catching the rain from her. And there's another one. They've had so many hurricanes, they have run out of names that they had selected for the year, for this year. It's crazy. And we're in the midst of this pandemic, which is not leaving us no time soon, regardless of what your president is saying and what he's twisting the arms of the CDC, trying to make them say. This pandemic has not gone anywhere. And I don't know when they're going to get a vaccine. I'm not even sure that how much we are going to trust this quick medicine, because they're trying, and I understand the necessity to move fast because we don't want any more people to die. But at the same time, they've got to be very careful about putting something out there so quickly that it might be more detrimental than it would be beneficial. But anyway, I wanted to talk about emergency preparedness for us, for seniors. And the reason I mentioned this the other day is that we had an experience back when we had the snowmageddon. I always go back to that because I will never forget seniors going on a trip. We're at the center, and all of a sudden the snow starts. We're trying to get everybody out the building. Miss Sparkman and I think it was 20 some seniors were on the bus
all night.
Get back to Darnell. This started like at 9 o'clock in the morning. By 3:30, we got everybody. We thought we had everybody out the building. Found out that we had one person left because his significant other was on the bus.
Oh.
I couldn't leave. My mama was on the bus.
Oh, Lord.
I said, this is the Darnell staff. None of us left because we stayed thinking that when they got back, they were going to need our help. Family members were calling us, cussing us out. But long story short, the lesson that I personally learned from that was it didn't really matter that we were seniors, that they were seniors on that bus. It didn't really matter to anybody that there was a busload of senior citizens who had been on a bus more than 18 hours without a bathroom, no food.
And Buffy, can I interrupt
Yes,
you? We
please
had
do.
an emergency on the bus. Someone had chest pains. I had to call 911 on the bus.
Oh,
And
Right.
that's right.
where were you guys stuck? Were you stuck here in Atlanta, or were
Yeah,
you
that
going?
was here.
We were on the highway stuck for a minute, and then we got off the highway. But you probably weren't here during snow.
I was here. Oh, I was a
could
teacher.
not go
We got stuck.
anywhere, and
Yeah.
they finally cleared the street.
Mm.
The National Guard came. They found a fire department, a station for us, and the National Guard escorted us inside the fire station, and that's where we stayed for a few more hours.
Wow.
We did not see them until the following day. I think it was around 1 or 2 o'clock by the time they got to Darnell. The entire night, the one person that was still at Darnell kept us up all night because this person had some dementia. He thought he was at a hotel, and he walked all night. We had blankets ready. We were ready. We had food ready. But my point is, nobody cared because you were a senior on that bus. I mean, we were calling family members. Family members were calling us, cussing us out, and we were trying to let people above us know, hey, we got a group of seniors out there. Well, oh well.
Mm.
Unfortunately, that was kind of the attitude that we were dealing with. And from that point on, I may have promised myself that the Darnell folk, we would never be caught like that anymore, that we had to learn how to be prepared and depend on ourselves to do whatever we needed to do.
So so you're saying they felt like you could take care of yourselves? Because I remember Snowmageddon, because kids were stuck on buses too. Same situation.
Right,
all
that
over
was-
I
Atlanta.
think what it
And
was,
so I know they didn't treat the kids like that, right? I mean,
I don't know whether, well, let me rephrase that. We were not a priority.
there was just a lot going
There
on.
was a
yeah,
lot
it was a lot going on.
on.
People were literally stuck. You could not
Yes.
move. And some of
That's
my
what
teacher
happened.
friends, they spent the night at a gas station. All types of stuff happened. I will never forget Snowmageddon.
So
Yeah.
I just think that we were unprepared.
We were
And I don't
unprepared.
think it wasn't that we weren't a priority. I just think it was that there were lots of priorities.
It was
Right,
overwhelming.
and what I'm trying to say,
Everybody left at the same time, remember? Everybody left around 1 o'clock, all at the same time. So everybody was on the road at the same time. And that's where the problem was. And the snow was,
Right. And even though family members were calling everybody they knew that had any clout, it was nothing that could be done. So my point today is that we want to be prepared in situations if we possibly can. Even though we are seniors, they may not, it could be like the fires, I saw a lady on television saying that her 80-year-old aunt was calling her saying, I need somebody to come get me. Well, she couldn't come get her, and probably the firemen and everything, but we want to take some steps that we can do to protect ourselves. First of all, we need to know what kind of disasters might come our way, depending on where you live. There are different things. Now, here in Georgia, you don't hear about us having mudslides like they do in California. If we have a fire, it's never been as big or as dramatic as the fires on the West Coast, burn up all the land. I think they may have had a fire here in some of the Georgia mountains, but nothing on the magnitude or size of what you're seeing out there on the West Coast now. We tend to have the tornadoes. And like I said, every so often the Snowmageddon might pop up, but I think the state learns a lot from that experience. They'll jump the gun quick now.
right.
And occasionally we have a hurricane come through here every now and then. So our biggest worries usually are tornadoes. And there have been some tornadoes come through Atlanta over the years, some that have been pretty destructive. Not that we're like in the middle of the hurricane tornado belt like out in the Midwest, Kansas and Missouri, places like that. But we do have some. We even are in that little line on the fault line for earthquake. So we could have any number of emergencies that would happen. And as a senior, you want to know if you got to evacuate, who would you call if you got to be evacuated, and when to shelter in place. okay? With the snowmageddon, that would have been a good example of time that we actually ended up sheltering in place because we couldn't go anywhere. You know, we were prepared. We had gotten the blankets out. We had emergency blankets that we had gotten. We had food. We went in the kitchen and prepared sandwiches and coffee and tea. We were ready. We had gotten out from our adult day side. We had gotten out Depends because we were worried about people being on there without a bathroom. That's why I was saying, Lord, these folks been on the, you know, and there's no bathroom on this little model bus. Those kinds of things we want to be prepared for. You need to get you a weather radio and keep that at home and tune it into your local emergency station and monitor your TV. Usually they'll tell you, watch Channel 2 News, and they'll, you know, run that little blip across there. Watch Channel 5 News, any of our local channels. They will be good. They're good about getting that information out there. And you want to follow those warnings. I remember that at Darnell, we've always done emergency drills. We are mandated, all the Fulton County Senior Centers, we're supposed to do so many emergency drills per year. Fire, gas, bomb, what's the other one? Active shooter. We're supposed to do all of those. And I remember we did a tornado drill on a Monday. Everybody moaning, groaning, complaining, oh, yeah, if I get down there, I can't get, yeah, well, you'll be all right, we'll get you back up. And the very next day, a tornado came up and we got we had the radio on, we heard it. So we started evacuating everybody into the areas where they're supposed to be, sheltering in place for this tornado, which had been spotted by the Charlie Brown Airport, which is less than spitting distance almost from Darnell. And as we were getting everybody in the hallway, down on the floor, I heard that sound. I remember I was frozen to the spot because I said, oh my God, that's what they've always been talking about. I'd never heard that train roar, but I heard it that day as it passed right on by us, but you could hear that sound. So I was glad that the training that I had kicked in, because even though it didn't do any damage to Darnell, it went right on over there past us, past Charlie Brown, and I guess it dissipated as it went on. But you never know with weather, because it's all in God's hand, these weather things. So we want to be prepared. So you can download this app, the FEMA app, F-E-M-A, the FEMA app. You can download that to receive weather alerts from the National Weather Service for up to 5 different locations anywhere in the United States. So if you're tech savvy, and we're all getting there doing all this Zoom and everything, download that information from FEMA. Oh my God, time is moving on. Okay, make a plan about if you're gonna need some type of special assistance, put it in your plan, okay? If you live all alone, you wanna create a network of support of family and friends who can assist you during an emergency. Have more than one, just like that lady called her only niece who could not get to her. You know, you need to have a circle of people, more than one person that you know that you could count on to call if you need it. Share your disaster plan with them. Practice your plan with them. Make sure they got an extra key to your house if they can't. Now, you don't go giving the key to the crazy cousin hitting that nip. You get a key to somebody that you trust. Don't get a key to that nephew that borrowed that money from you, ain't paid you back yet. You get that key, give it to a trusted friend, maybe a church member or somebody that you can count on that's going to do. Make sure that they know where you keep your emergency supplies and how to use any type of life-saving equipment or administer medication. If you're on medication, if you're on oxygen, make sure that they know where you keep your extra tanks, where you keep your things in your house in case of an emergency. If you have to undergo routine treatments, like if you take dialysis and you have to go to the clinic, find out their emergency plans. You know, and what would they do if a tornado comes? What would be your plan A and plan B if you're somewhere other than in your home, if you're at the clinic? These are the kinds of things you need to be aware of. If you go to your doctor and you're at the doctor's office and all of a sudden the weather flips the script, find out what would y'all do if we were here in the office and a tornado hit. what's the plan? What's plan A to take care of the people who are in the facility at that time? That's a good thing to know, okay? If you have any type of disability where it makes it hard for you to communicate, if you are deaf or you've got some sort of speech impediment, maybe you've had a stroke and your language is not as clear as it used to be, then make sure that you let them know that you know, whoever's going to have your key, that, you know, I have trouble communicating because I'm deaf or I've had a speech impediment due to a stroke. You want to let those persons know who's in your network all about that, okay? Now, if you got a pet or a service animal and you have to evacuate your house, and then they say, well, okay, well, the tornado tore up Miss Valerie's house, we got to go get her, and you got a dog, you got to find out, are they going to let you bring your dog? These are things you can find out ahead of time. You got to call Miss Linda from the church to come and get you. Is Miss Linda going to let you bring that great big Rottweiler with you? Maybe not, because everybody doesn't want to deal with a dog. And if you have to go to a shelter, the same thing applies. That's why you see so many animals, like on the news just this morning, they were showing all the animals that had gotten left behind due to the fires. Because in a hurry, in an emergency situation, and you have to prioritize, your pet might not be your number one priority. If a fire's licking up your hips, you got to get on up out of there, okay? All right, the next thing, as I see the time is rolling on, is that you need to have all of your financial documents, household information in a plastic bag about the size of this, somewhere in your house where you can get it in a hurry. Because if it was a really serious emergency where the banks and power lines and all these things are down, how you gonna prove who you are? How you gonna get that money out that ATM? Suppose the ATMs are down because of the electricity. How you gonna prove who you are? So you wanna make sure that you got in your emergency pack that you can just pick up. And this is something that you know where it is. That's not for little Johnny and them to know, grandmama keep her bank thing over here. We can go in there and get, no, they don't need to know all that. You just need to know where it is so you can pick it up if you have to leave your home in emergency. So you want to have your household identification, who you are. If your name is Evelyn Turner and you don't have your driver's license, how I know you Evelyn Turner? There's no way for me at the bank to say, I don't know who you are. I don't know. So you would need to have what in there? A copy of your driver's license or your identification card. If you, what you can't do is, even though you have your driver's license, you can still get you a Georgia ID and make a copy of that and keep that in that bag. Make a copy of your driver's license. You want your financial and legal documentation, your medical information, household contacts. You need all that information in there, and you need to update it. Once you get all this in your little package and put it up in a safe spot, on a yearly basis, you need to check it. Say your insurance, you just change your insurance policy. You decide, well, I'm gonna go with Progressive as opposed to Geico. And you need to change whatever you had in the bag. You need to keep that up to date. Because I really hate when, especially now with these cell phones and these millennial parents, because I have a second job where I work with kids too. Child fall down, hurt themselves. You trying to call a parent and that phone don't work no more. That phone number been disconnected. That is the most irritating thing. And then when you finally do track them down, oh, I forgot to give y'all the new number. You got to keep all their information up. And
ma'am, that happens at the center too. It's not millennials.
okay. Seniors, when you
not just millennials.
Darnell, we calling your people.
Okay, so I'm just letting you know, we need to be very conscious of that, because even when COVID hit and we did those initial wellness calls, there were a lot of people we could not get in touch with because their phone numbers changed and they didn't give us the information.
You know, you're absolutely right about that, Ms. Sparkman, because I know there have been times that people have gotten sick of Darnell, and then you'll say, we'll try to call your relative, and then first thing you go talking about, don't call my son. I don't want him upset, child, hush. We finna call these folks. Anyway, so identification documents. You want to be able to prove anybody lives in your house. they need some sort of identification, a copy of it in your little bag so that you can prove who you all are. Just because I know who you are, when it comes down and people are running amok and there's a terrible tragedy going on with a disaster, you need to have everything at the ready, okay? You want to make sure that you stay in touch with the people who live with you. You know, find out if they are okay, all right? You want to, if you're still working, you want to call and check in with your employers, see what's going on there. And then you can apply for a FEMA disaster aid as well. So you want to make sure, if you're married, have a copy of your marriage license in there. If you're divorced, have a copy of your divorce decree in there. A copy of your driver's license or any other photo ID. Social Security cards, copy of it. Now, like I said, now you don't go around telling everybody what's in your little bag. That's not for them to know. That's your emergency bag, right? So because you can't trust everybody. If you got a passport, you want to have a copy of your passport in there. If you are a naturalized American citizen, you need a copy of your paperwork. You need a copy of all of that. If you've been in the military or you're still in the military, you're retired military, have a copy of all your ID stuff that pertains to the military. If you got pets, you gotta have your pet's shot record. Make sure you got his ID, all that kind of stuff. You want to make sure you got all that in that little plastic bag. You want to make sure you got your name, your address, your current mailing address, the name of your spouse or your partner. If you worked, who was your supervisor name and contact on your job. If you're still married or your spouse or your partner has a job, you need information in there about who they work for, who is their supervisor, and a contact for them at work. You need to have that in there. Who do you notify in an emergency? That needs to be in there. If you don't want your daughter, then whoever you want to be notified in an emergency, that needs to be in there. That person's name and contact numbers, good contact numbers. You list everybody that lives in your house, because if the house blows down and when they start triaging and trying to figure out who's missing, you need to be able to tell, well, these are the people that lived in my house, and I haven't talked to this one, this one, and this one, and have all their emergency information right there, their name, their age, pertinent information that needs to be on file. Now, your financial and legal documents, you need to have information on your key accounts. If you're still paying for your house, you need a copy of the information about your house payments, your loan number, your financial obligations like your utility bill, credit card, debit card. You need copies of all of that. Financial accounts, you need a copy of your checking, savings, or retirement accounts. You need that information in there. Your insurance policies. If you're getting alimony, source of income, any other income like Social Security, a pension, those things that you need copies of that information. Your tax statement, even if you are planning, if you got a will, a copy of that needs to be in there. All this information in a bag about this size. This is like 8.5 by 11. You know, like a gallon size plastic Ziploc bag that moisture won't get into. Those are the kinds of things that you need, because at the end of the day, after the disaster is kind of calmed down, the rent man gonna want he rent. The mortgage people they're gonna want that note. Like they gave everybody a break for a couple of months since when the pandemic first started, but he want he money now. So you need to have all of your information, because when the dust settles, the debts you owe, whether they've gotten your checks coming back regularly like they're supposed to, it's not going to matter, because they're going to still want their money. Life will go on, and it will be so much easier for you if you got all those records. And if you have to leave your house, you need to make sure that you keep those records in that plastic bag somewhere secure where you know where it is, so you can grab it, put it in that pocketbook on your way out there. Because you know, most black folks, women, we ain't going nowhere without our pocketbook. So make sure that you do that and keep that with you. These important documents, you got to have them. Payments, your insurance policies, all that information, you need to have it at the ready. Are there any questions? Anybody want to chime in with something? Have you anybody had experience with this? Okay. I want y'all to be, I guess I'm just really more aware of that people will try to not do what they're supposed to do in an emergency. Or there are people out there who will try to do something. They're not good people out there. There are predators out there. So to protect yourself and protect your information, get that plastic bag while you at home now, doing nothing. Start looking at your stuff, gathering it up, make those copies. Like I said, you ain't gotta tell your folk everything. You just need to tell them somebody had a key, whoever you gonna have that circle for, and check in on each other, just like we're doing with this pandemic now. Whatever type of disaster it is, you want to check in with your friends. Make sure that everybody's okay. Make sure that everybody's being taken care of. And it only takes a phone call to find out that information. At Darnell, I always loved we had our retired nurses. Miss Christine was one of my folks that assisted us in everything that we did. We had the parking lot posse. We had our nurses. And we had an emergency response team at Darnell. All of the persons pretty much that were on the emergency response team took the training from the city of Atlanta and Fulton County. It was called, Jesus, my mind just went blank. What was the name of that thing? CERT training. CERT training. And they took us through it was like, I believe it was a 6-week program where you went through the whole emergency disaster thing and what to do, how to cut the gas off, fire or something, first aid, how to triage. We went through the whole thing. And then at the end of the 6 weeks training, they had an actual, I don't want to say obstacle course, but they had an actual disaster set up for the seniors to go through, those persons who were taking the training to go through that. And they received their little jackets and little bags and everything. Once they did it, we had the triage with the doll babies out there. Poor little babies about to be freezing the little keisters off. So that training was invaluable. And I had all of our retired nurses and anybody else that volunteered that wanted to be on the emergency team. Because like I said, I always wanted the seniors to be prepared to take care of ourselves. Can't depend on your children all the time. You can't even depend on close relatives. So I want everybody to know as much as they can, have all that information handy so that you won't be unprepared if a situation comes up. Like, who would have thought we'd be in a pandemic? Nobody. I know I certainly wouldn't. I never would have thought that I would not be able to go to church, barely go to the grocery store because of that unseen killer out there. And this is an emergency type of situation. So please, y'all get your stuff together, your paperwork, and put it somewhere. And if nobody's got the key to your house, find you somebody. Suppose you fall down in their house. We've had several seniors from Darnell that lived alone, got sick. They didn't show up for a day or two. And Darnell, you know how we are. We start calling.
Yes.
We don't get nobody. We go over there and we look through the window and the person's laying on the floor. So you gotta have somebody, even if you say, well, I don't have any children, you got a friend. There's somebody that you can trust, one person. You don't have to have a lot, but we want to expand. That's why I like for everybody to know each other. This was one of the things I emphasized at Darnell in my fitness classes was that you had to know everybody's name. I didn't want people saying, oh, hey, Darnell, or, you at Bowden, you see somebody from Bowden, you say, oh, hey, Bowden, because you don't know the person's name, but you've seen them at your center. So I encourage you all, you're looking at each other on this Zoom screen, and it usually be our same little core group. get to know each other. I've learned Miss Valerie, I feel like that's a new friend because she's been with me since I started doing Health Secrets, and then I drug her on into the fitness class. So I'm excited about making a new friend. So I want all of y'all to feel that way, particularly now as the weather's getting ready to flip the script again. We're going into the fall, and there are different emergency situations that come up with the fall. So be prepared. And that's all I had for today. I hope y'all got something out of this.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Make sure you get those papers together and have them in a safe location that you know where they are. Now, I'm not talking about having them way up in the corner, up on somewhere. You got to stand up in a chair to get to it. You need it like by your bed, in the nightstand, you know, so where you can just put your hand on it and grab your pocketbook and out the door you go. Okay? So I will see everybody tomorrow. We have stretch and tone tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Great exercise class. So I will be looking for everybody. I love you. I love you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. And I'll see y'all on Friday. And then
Love y'all. Be safe.
Friday.
Be safe. Be safe.
Bye.